Rain fell in steady sheets over the sleepy town of Willow Creek, turning sidewalks into streams and painting the storefronts in a glistening gray. Claire Bennett, arms weighed down by bags of flour and fresh apples, hurried past the park bench she'd passed 1,000 times. But this time, someone was there. He looked like he'd been carved out of the storm. Soaked jeans, no jacket, and eyes that stared past the world like it had long forgotten him. His hands trembled in his lap, clutching nothing but silence. She should have kept walking. Most people did. But something inside her paused. A memory, maybe. A familiar ache. She turned back. You all right? She asked gently, her umbrella tilting toward him. He blinked at the sound of a human voice, like it had been a while since someone bothered. I'm fine, he mumbled, even though he clearly wasn't. Claire set her grocery bags down. Look, I don't know your story. And I'm not here to judge. But I've got a warm kitchen, dry clothes, and a pot of chili that's way too much for one person. If you need a place to catch your breath, you're welcome. His lip quivered. For a moment, he didn't speak. Then came a soft, cracked whisper. Why? Claire smiled, kind but steady. Because once, someone did the same for me. Claire Bennett had never been one to seek out the spotlight. Her world revolved around her quiet bakery at the corner of Maple and Fifth, a cozy haven that smelled of brown sugar, butter, and healing. She'd inherited Honeycrust Bakery from her parents and turned it into more than just a place to buy pastries. It was her refuge, especially after losing her husband, Jeremy, to cancer 5 years earlier. Their love had been quiet, strong, and cut too short. After he was gone, Claire stopped expecting new beginnings. Life became a rhythm. Rise before dawn, knead the dough, serve the regulars, close shop, eat dinner alone. The only other sound in her house at night was her golden retriever, Mabel, snoring softly beside her. Claire had friends, sure, and a community that cared, but something deeper was missing. A connection. A sense that life could still surprise her. Across the state, Noah Blake had a very different story. Once a respected army medic, Noah returned from Afghanistan not as a hero, but as a man cracked in places no one could see. The war had left him with PTSD, sleepless nights, and a growing sense of worthlessness. He tried therapy. He tried working. But every job fell apart eventually. Flashbacks, anxiety, and shame made him unreliable in a world that valued neither nuance nor pain. After his last job let him go, and after the sudden death of his mother, his last living relative, Noah found himself adrift. A Greyhound bus ticket was all he had left. He didn't even know why he chose Willow Creek. He just wanted to go somewhere small. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere no one knew his name. And yet, when the rain started to fall and the hunger returned, even he hadn't expected to break down on a park bench, too exhausted to move. He certainly hadn't expected her. Claire's voice, her offer of warmth without condition, it confused him. Made him wary. But something in her eyes, something gentle, like recognition, made it impossible to say no. Neither of them knew it then, but their pain had brought them to the same place. And kindness was about to change everything. Claire didn't ask him many questions that first night. She handed Noah a clean towel, a pair of Jeremy's old flannel pajamas, and pointed him toward the shower. The hot water and warmth were overwhelming after days of cold benches and restless sleep. When he emerged, freshly scrubbed and unsure what to do with his hands, Claire was already in the kitchen ladling chili into 2 bowls. Hope you're not allergic to cornbread, she said with a soft smile, setting a plate between them at the table. Mabel, her golden retriever, sniffed Noah curiously, then curled at his feet like she'd decided he belonged there. Noah watched her for a long moment before speaking. You don't know me. I could be, I don't know. Dangerous. Claire met his eyes without flinching. Maybe. But you're also soaked, starving, and haven't looked anyone in the eye for what looks like a very long time. He blinked. You're not afraid. I've been afraid before. This doesn't feel like that. That simple answer, said with no drama or judgment, cracked something in Noah. Not enough to spill everything, he wasn't ready for that. But enough to eat 3 bowls of chili, say thank you twice, and not bolt the moment the rain stopped. The kindness didn't end that night. The next morning, Claire set out a folded blanket on the couch, fresh clothes on a chair, and left a sticky note, help yourself to coffee. I'm at the bakery. Come by if you're up to it. No pressure. No expectations. And when he did come by, quietly, hesitantly, just before the lunch rush, she didn't announce him or make him explain anything. She handed him an apron, pointed at the sink, and said, think you can wash a few dishes. That small act, offering him purpose instead of pity, was the moment it all began to change. She didn't fix him. Didn't try. But in offering her table, her time, and the dignity of normalcy, Claire gave Noah something he hadn't felt in years. A reason to stay. Noah didn't have a plan, but Claire never asked for one. He started showing up every morning at the bakery, first to wash dishes, then to stack shelves, and eventually, to knead dough beside her in the early hush before dawn. He learned the rhythm of her world. The careful shaping of croissants, the warmth of cinnamon rolls fresh from the oven, the way customers lit up when Claire remembered their names and their favorite pastries. He felt useful. And with every passing day, the storm inside him softened. Claire, too, began to change. Her world had been quiet for so long she hadn't realized how much she missed companionship. She found herself looking forward to his lopsided grin when he mispronounced brioche, the thoughtful way he'd refill the coffee pot without being asked, or how he sometimes sat beside her on the back porch in silence, not needing to talk, just there. One night, while closing up the bakery, Claire caught him standing in front of the small, help wanted, sign she'd forgotten to take down. Think I've already got the job, he said, half smiling. Unpaid, she replied, arching an eyebrow. I guess I'll work for cookies then. They laughed, real laughter, deep and unguarded. But it wasn't just laughter that grew between them. It was trust. It was Claire leaving a house key on the table one night without a word. It was Noah fixing the broken garden fence without being asked. It was slow glances held a moment too long. The brush of fingers when passing a coffee mug. Quiet dinners where neither felt the need to fill the silence. And outside the bakery, the town of Willow Creek began to take notice. A few regulars, curious at first, started offering Noah nods and then smiles. Someone slipped him a flannel shirt with the tag still on. Another left boots by the back door in his size. The kindness Claire offered was contagious. And Noah, for the first time in years, began to believe in belonging again. Not just to a place. But maybe, to a person. The first snow came quietly. Claire watched it fall through the bakery window, the warm light inside glowing against the soft white outside. She was icing a batch of gingerbread cookies when she heard the bell above the door jingle. It was Noah, but something in his face was different. He looked nervous. Not like he used to, tensed from trauma, but uncertain, like someone about to step off a ledge. He held something in his hand, a folded, worn envelope. His military discharge papers. I've been thinking, he said, voice low. About leaving. For real this time. Claire's heart clenched, but she nodded slowly, meeting his eyes. Why? He hesitated. Because I'm scared. That I'm starting to need this too much. You too much. And what if I mess it all up? Claire walked around the counter. Noah, you think kindness is some fragile thing that breaks if you lean on it too hard. But it's not. It bends. It holds. He looked down, defeated. I don't know how to be loved. She stepped closer. You're learning. And I've got time. Silence hung between them, thick, tender. Then he whispered, I don't want to leave. I just didn't think I deserved to stay. Claire touched his hand gently. Then stay. As long as it takes. And he did. That winter, Noah became part of Willow Creek, truly. He enrolled in trauma support groups at the VA hospital in a neighboring town. He fixed up the spare room in Claire's house. Mabel started sleeping at his feet, and every morning, they opened the bakery side by side. One snowy evening in February, Claire found a note on the counter next to a single sunflower, her favorite. You gave me a home. But more than that, you gave me you. When she looked up, he was waiting by the door, heart in his eyes. Noah Blake had come to Willow Creek a ghost of himself. But love, quiet, steady, and wrapped in kindness, had brought him back to life. And standing there in the falling snow, with his hand in hers and a world of second chances ahead, Claire realized. Some people arrive in your life like storms. And some arrive like shelter.